Hey, what's going on everyone? Matthew from therighttrader.com back today with another daily crypto update. Today we're going to go over our normal schedule, and I also wanted to talk about why cryptos keep dropping, because it's obviously been going on for quite some time now and it is continuing. The good thing is that we're still in our symmetrical triangle formation here for Bitcoin, for example. So we're still in our consolidation, but we're definitely moving towards the downside of this, and we're going to come up on our uptrend line. A move below that would be significantly bearish, right, and would truly put us in a nasty situation where we would likely see, an even bigger drop. Now, what's causing cryptos to keep dropping? Well, obviously, we had our huge run up with a bunch of euphoria, and when things turn around, which is exactly what happened, that isn't going to be the prettiest thing considering how much of a euphoric move it was. So, of course, when everything is going great and there's a bunch of hype, people are buying it up. But when things start looking bad, and this was kind of started by Bitcoin Cash getting added to Coinbase and all of the drama relating to that, well, slowly but surely we saw a pretty big drop, and then it kept on dropping lower and lower. Some bag holders decided to jump ship, and that's just the cycle that happens, right, where people get even more worried, they start selling even more, the big players get out while they can so they can get back in lower. And it's just that cycle that continues until we really hit a rock bottom where no one is really interested in crypto anymore and very few people are paying attention. That's when the smart players are buying up, and then usually we see yet another big run. That's the pattern right there. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the general market. As you can see, a lot of red here. Crypto's taking another big hit, usually down 10% here across the board. And don't forget to follow me on Twitter for live cryptocurrency market updates, as well as check out my premium content where you can find monthly cryptocurrency buying opportunities. Link to all of that in the description of this video. And let's get started with the technical analysis on Bitcoin. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom in a bit. Now, as you can see, we are back below our red downtrend line. We are still in this symmetrical triangle formation between our two pink trend lines. And we just dropped back below $8,000, right? Now, we have expanding Bollinger Bands. Our middle band is downtrending, so I'd say it's very likely that we come and test, at the very least, our uptrend line. And then, like I said, it's going to be very critical that we stay above that level. We definitely want to see a bounce there and remain trending along the uptrend line, because as soon as we drop below that, that is going to be our signal for when things could get really bad, and would also tell us that we're not done at all with the drop, really. So not saying that's necessarily going to happen, but we got to be careful, because at this point it's almost guaranteed that we come and test the uptrend line. Keep in mind, none of this is financial advice. This is just my personal opinion, but the indicators are all downtrending again. Let's go ahead and take a look at Ethereum just to compare here, see what's going on with Ethereum, and then we're going to go over to Litecoin, our normal schedule as per usual. So let's go over to Ethereum here. Now Ethereum, like I said, hasn't really experienced major support, because after that $764 level, there wasn't that much support, right? So we had a little bit of support in the $700, but we've pretty much been falling non-stop due to the fact that there's no major support here. And like I've been saying, we have a little bit of support over here at $540, $520 but really next major support is the $500 mark, and that's where we're heading. Of course, the lower Bollinger Band dipping with the price, very likely that we're going to test that $500 mark. And what it's looking like is a lot of these cryptocurrencies are going to be coming up on kind of the final critical level that, if we want to see cryptos recover easily, can definitely not move below. For Ethereum, that's going to be $500. For Bitcoin, that's going to be like I said, that that uptrend line. And if these cryptocurrencies start moving below those critical levels, that's when we're in a true bearish period where the recovery becomes much more unclear and uncertain in a sense. So that's why it's fine if we come back and test this level, so long as we do end up getting a bounce and we do remain above those levels. But at this point, once again, almost guaranteed that we do come and test that $500 mark. Hopefully, though, the dropping will slow down once that happens, and we'll start to see some consolidation, maybe go back towards the downtrend line, hopefully get an attempt of breaking towards the upside at that point. But for now, it looks like we're still going to experience a bit of a drop, and we definitely have a lot of selling volume indicators, all bearish right now. We're going to go over next to Litecoin, see what Litecoin has been up to. And it looks like Litecoin is back in its symmetrical triangle formation between its two red trend lines, indicators, downtrending. Now, what's interesting with Litecoin, it's actually holding up pretty well here. A lot of support at $145. So a drop below that could start pushing us lower. And of course, once again here, we don't want to drop below this longer term uptrend line because that would very quickly push us back to $100. And then it would be a double test of that level, at which point we'd either get a bounce off that $100 mark, and that would be bullish. But if we drop below that, then we're back into that double-digit range. And what I did want to mention is I definitely see a fair possibility of Litecoin coming back and testing $100, right? If we see pretty much one more hit on the crypto market, one more relatively significant hit, we're going to be moving back towards $100 here. And that doesn't seem unlikely at all if we were to see one more hit. Like I said, like I have been saying, we're coming up towards the end of the formation for Litecoin, and that leaves us with two possibilities. We're either going to break towards the upside of the downtrend line, or we're going to lose the uptrend line support and start moving towards the downside. Whichever direction we move in, will set the trend, at least in the short term, and probably on a medium term as well. Litecoin is one of the first that's going to really let us know where we're going to be heading normally, because it is coming here towards the end of the symmetrical triangle formation, and within the next week we should already get our signal on where we will be heading next. Now let's go over to Nano. Nano unfortunately is showing some very bullish signs right now. We just lost that 100,000 Satoshi support level, and like I said, that was definitely the level that we wanted to maintain above. Now that we're below that, we of course have a little bit of a bounce opportunity here off the previous downtrend line, and I think we're probably going to continue to trend lower along that downtrend line. But we're in this downtrending channel between our two red trend lines, and really now that we're back in below 100,000 Satoshis, I think our next stop this time is that 50,000 Satoshi mark that we didn't actually end up testing last time. We came back down to 62,000 Satoshis. I have a feeling like we're at least going to come back to 62,000 Satoshis, and definitely a good chance that we actually come back and test that 50,000 Satoshi level. At this point, it just seems likely, seeing that we're moving back below 100,000 Satoshis, unfortunately. Now let's go over to Ripple, see if Ripple has been able to hold up a bit. Definitely not going to be likely, seeing how cryptocurrencies are so interconnected. And Ripple is moving below 65 cents now. It was holding on the edge of that, right above it, but we finally are dipping towards the downside of that. We have some support near 50 cents, but next major support level is going to be 31 cents. So a little bit of support at 30 and near 40 cents basically. 50 cents, definitely a pretty good support level. But like I said, next major support level is that 31 cent mark. And what's kind of sad with that is that corresponds to where we had our initial breakout. What's interesting, and you could say that if you were very diligent on technical analysis, you could have maybe seen this, but you really can't look back and say that type of stuff. Usually when you get these big breakouts, right, you always come back and test the breakout areas. So for example, if we look at these shorter breakouts over here, we got our breakout and then we came back and tested our breakout level. Same thing over here, right? We got our breakout, came back and tested the breakout level, and we climbed up higher. Now, of course, since we got, a very quick run up, we didn't actually ever end up coming back towards this 31 cent level, but that's what's looking like what might happen now, and that will truly shave off a lot of the gains. Basically kind of anticlimactic in a sense. We're moving back towards that 30 line on the RSI, and at this point I think going to 50 cents is pretty much guaranteed. Going to 31 cents becomes likely if we drop below 50 cents. So I will go ahead and put in the 50 cent support level, because that will kind of be our last support level before going to that 30 cent area. So I'll go ahead and just draw that in there. That's the blue line. We're now going to go over Neo and see what Neo has been up to. Previously one of the stronger cryptocurrencies out there. It hasn't been doing great lately. Pretty severe downtrend, barely any green candlesticks, and we're trending lower here along this downtrend line. All the indicators downtrending pretty severely as well. No changes there, very flat MACD towards the downside. So true bearish movement here, and I don't think that's going to stop until we come back and test that $43 level. Hopefully we won't go any lower than that, because that will have already meant that we will go below $50. But $43 is our next major support level, And once again, that does kind of correspond to where we got our initial big breakout. So we'll have to see if we're going to drop below that and then start entering some massive consolidation at around $27. Definitely possible. That would probably be the case if that were to happen for a lot of other cryptocurrencies like Ripple, a little bit below 30 cents, and then we'd enter, our whole consolidation all over again, which some might say is a good buying opportunity. It depends on how you look at that, but obviously people want cryptocurrencies to be going higher. Unfortunately, looks like we're at least going to be getting a test of $43 at this point for Neo. Now let's go ahead and take a look at our next crypto, which is going to be, let's see, that's going to be Stellar Lumens. I always forget my schedule here, but Stellar Lumens is next up, and Stellar hasn't managed to hold above 3,000 Satoshis, so we're now moving lower. We're actually coming up on 2,500 Satoshis here, and of course there's going to be some support at that level, but seeing how the rest of the market is probably going to see at least a little bit more of a hit, I think that we're going to come back and test this 2,000 Satoshi level for Stellar, and truly this is one that we don't want to see move below that because we'll have really shaved off any type of gains at that point. As for the indicators, all turned bearish again, right? We got that rounding towards the downside on all of them, and they all turned bearish pretty recently actually. So definitely think that we're going to be moving lower here for Stellar. We're going to hop over to Vertcoin now, see what Vertcoin has been up to. The smaller cryptocurrencies out there can definitely take a stronger hit in these type of conditions. And right now we're just moving slowly but surely closer to $1.54. Once again, similar to Ripple and Neo, if we drop below $1.54, we will have pretty much removed any gains that we made on the run up, and we'll be back in this consolidation at basically $1, maybe a little bit below that. Definitely could happen if we do end up moving below $1.54. But at this point, pretty likely that we come back and test that level. So at least that, I'd say, at least that. And then we're going to hope for a bounce and some consolidation, maybe try to break out of the downtrend line. So, I mean, it's pretty straightforward, right? It's one or two ways. We're either going to see a lot of these cryptocurrencies lose their critical support levels and then enter some consolidation in their lower ranges pre-breakout, right? Pre-initial breakout, I should say. Or we're going to be able to kind of get a bounce, get some consolidation in, and then break out of the downtrend lines, and then slowly but surely start recovering. Hopefully that's what happens. Now, for the and it definitely is a fair thing to happen, because usually when we come back and test the breakout levels, we do end up getting a bounce, right? So totally logical. If we look back here, right, we got our breakout, we pulled back, we got our bounce at the breakout level, and then we started moving higher again. So hopefully that's what happens, just on a much bigger scale. But we can't guarantee anything. Indicators starting to flatten out a little bit, so that is a pretty good sign. It's a bit early to tell that fully though. But we're going to go over to Lisk now, see what Lisk has been up to. And Lisk is dipping below $12.15. Indicators definitely flattening out a bit, which is good, but we are back below $12.15. All the Bollinger Bands, middle band, downtrending pretty severely, so that's putting a lot of downside on the price, and I think that seeing how cryptos are likely going to take at least another small hit, very likely that we're going to go back towards $10, probably going to get some consolidation around $8 here for Lisk, unfortunately, which will put us back to where we were previously. Now, let's go ahead and take a look, and it'll be interesting to see if the bigger cryptocurrencies are able to recover more quickly or deal with all of this better than some of the smaller ones out there. That is usually the case, but you can never be certain, right? Because there's a lot of market dynamics that go into this type of stuff. So sometimes there's altcoin runs, sometimes there's Bitcoin runs, you know the deal. But let's go over and take a look at Cardano now, see what Cardano has been doing. Now, Cardano just dipped below 2,000 Satoshis. We are continuing to go lower. One good thing is, since we had such a severe, massive downtrend, it's almost like our indicators are telling us that we can't go that much lower. And what I mean by that is we can see we're really coming up towards the end of our lower Bollinger Band, so that's giving us some support. Looks like the Bollinger Bands kind of want to start flattening out a bit here. And the indicators have definitely, attempted somewhat of a recovery. The RSI has taken a pretty severe hit though. We're all the way down to the 20 line. You can't really go much lower than that, right? Now, of course, definitely possible here that we do come down to maybe 1,400 or even 1,254,000 Satoshis. get some kind of bounce there. Definitely possible, but I don't think we're going to be seeing Cardano dropping much lower than that, to be honest, because the indicators are already starting to flatten out. The price should follow pretty shortly, so that is somewhat of a bullish sign here amidst this whole mess. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at our last cryptocurrency of the daily crypto update. That's going to be Iota, and see what Iota has been doing. So we are coming up a little bit higher. We're trying to get back to $1.13. We are back above $1.10. Indicators starting to flatten out a little bit, starting to round back up. No major bullish crossovers or anything like that. We're still in this little range now between $1 and $1.10, and we're really going to have to pay attention to which side we're going to be breaking out of. Bollinger Band, not doing too bad. We do have room towards the upside to get back towards $1.47. That would obviously be a pretty bullish scenario at this point. But if cryptocurrencies take another hit, I think we're going to be losing that dollar support level, and then we're going to trickle down closer to 50 cents, 33 cents, going back into that cent range. So truly an indecisive period here for Iota. We're in this very tight range, and until we get a confirmation on which side we'll be heading in, it's just kind of too hard to tell right now. With that being said, this is the end of the daily crypto update. Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please make sure to leave a like. Don't forget to check out my Twitter and my premium content. Link to those in the description of this video. Thanks for watching, and have a great day, everyone.